Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. We're so happy you can join us this morning for our instructional update meeting for elementary principals. I am Mary Treese. I serve as Executive Director of Educational Services. We have several staff members here from Wayne RESA who will be sharing information with you. Why an update meeting? We've been asked by your curriculum directors. We share a lot of information with the district office, and they said, we really want our principals to have access to this information too. Can you make sure that you find an avenue to share that with them? And we said, of course. And knowing how busy you are, we thought this might be the best way to do it, an hour-long update meeting. So we're going to share a lot of information with you. Of course, you can unmute and ask questions, put questions in the chat. We're happy to respond, or even stay on a few minutes after the meeting if you have any questions or need further information. We're certainly happy to address that. Everything that will be shared with you today will be archived on a site that I think someone will be putting in the chat. All of the slides, and they have a lot of links in them, but you will have access to every bit of it. So if you want to go back and review things later on, or there are things that you find in the slide deck that you want to share with staff members, you will have access to all of that, and it will be archived month after month. If you registered for this series, you will also get the recording afterward. So if your life is busy, which we know it is, and you can't make it to the live meeting, we'll send you a recording afterward. That way you can listen to it, in your car on the way into work, or whenever you have the opportunity just to get the information. So if there's nothing else, here's the agenda. We have updates for you in several capacities. We do a monthly update report that we share with superintendents and curriculum directors. You may have seen that, and if you haven't, it's okay. We will have it linked here for you to peruse, and it's multiple areas that you might find helpful. Certainly share with any staff members that you feel like would be relevant in your school, and know that we will archive those each month so that you can always go back and review them again. We have literacy updates, social studies. We have information on instructional coaching, knowing that many of you have COSAs and other instructional coaches in your buildings. We have state assessment accountability updates, and we have information around supporting your multilingual learners in your schools and classrooms, and information around instructional technology. I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Wagner, who's Director of Educational Services.
And I just want to reiterate what Mary already shared about how grateful we are that you took time out of your day to be with us, whether you're with us live this morning or you're watching after the fact with that YouTube link that we will be sending out. We're so grateful for you. We also want to acknowledge that October is National Principals Month, Principal Appreciation Month, and we just want to say thank you for all that you do. We know that there is no role where someone works harder than the school principal, and we're just so grateful for everything you do for Wayne County children and educators. So thank you for being with us today. We also want to share something that comes out each month. Each month, Wayne RESA publishes an update report. This update report goes directly to curriculum directors and superintendents. It's full of information that applies to every level of education. So the whole document may not be useful to you, but there are certainly pieces of it that I think that you'll find very interesting and helpful, and pages that you'll want to share with your staff. So we will make sure that this is always linked on our site, which I'm going to ask that is maybe dropped one more time into the chat. And this is a great thing to look through, to flip through, and then just send it to those people who might find it useful. So for example, there's always a page about library media specialists. And if you have a library media specialist in your building, this is a great way to connect them with information that really focuses on their needs. And I'm going to turn it over to Sarah. Sarah, I see that you are talking, but you're not unmuted. So thank you for being here.
Yes, no problem. I see that. I'm sorry. Hello, I'm Sarah Jones. I'm one of the 5 literacy consultants for elementary education. If you need any support, please feel free to reach out to any of us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. So Wayne RESA is offering some additional foundational training opportunities with UFly that'll be offered in December, on December 1st and on December 2nd. There is a s'more that will be put in the chat for you as well so that you can register for that opportunity. We are also really excited to offer some free virtual trainings to support schools and teachers as they implement UFly. All of the sessions will be led by UFly team members, and we would really love for you to join us. As you can see with those trainings, one is on November 4th, which is going to be during the day from 8:30 to 10:30, and then we'll offer it again in January 22nd of 26 during the afternoon for anyone that needs to come in the afternoon versus the day. We also would like you to please note that these sessions are not intended to replace the initial 2-day UFly training. They are for those that have already completed the foundational training for the progress monitoring and the step refresher sessions. Our next opportunity that we have that we would like to have you join us is on December 2nd. This is a full day in-person session where we'll really dive into some practical ways to build students' vocabulary, their background knowledge, and language structures. This is a learning experience is about just sparking the love for reading while also strengthening comprehension skills. We'll be using the guide Know Better, Do Better as our text to facilitate throughout the day by David and Meredith Levin. We are also offering some additional virtual course offerings for our upper elementary teachers. We have a 2-part series on supporting readers' comprehension. It is a 1.5-hour asynchronous course, and it'll explore the recommendations from IES. The session will demonstrate strategies that build students' word and world knowledge, giving them meaningful opportunities to ask and answer questions, as well as teaching them how to find the gist in short text sessions and helping them to monitor their comprehension as they're reading. The course is available on August 1st, or was available through August 1st, 2025, all the way through June 1st of 2026. And once you have registered, you will have access to those courses, and sketches will be processed as well if you need those. Another professional learning that's on this page is the decoding skills. And the decoding skills is also a 1.5-hour asynchronous course that focuses on building a student's decoding skills and helping them read through complex text, syllabic words, And you'll also have practical strategies and routines that, that students will be able to use to help them with their decoding. And then the last virtual course off is the readers in grades 4 through 9 fluency. This is another 1.5-hour asynchronous courses, and it just really helps with fluency activities and helping students learn how to read effortlessly. And the next slide is we are offering our second round. We had one a couple weeks ago. We're having another session on dyslexia awareness, instructional strategies, and policy implications. We really would like you to join us if you have the opportunity to do so. It is from 9 to 3, and it'll cover lots of good information that will be really good for your leadership teams, as well as for you to understand the impacts of the law, understanding some practical strategies, and just really understanding what dyslexia is and what it is not. So please join us on November 25th if you can.
Morning, everyone. I'm John Ferris, social studies consultant at Wayne RESA, and this morning I'm going to share a couple of recent research studies and talk about their implications and how we can use those findings to guide instruction and improve literacy in elementary school. So recently, a survey was conducted of over 1,000 Michigan teachers asking how they're teaching social studies, where they're teaching social studies, and how much time they're devoting to it. And what was found in this study was that very little time is being devoted to social studies at the elementary level. So what are the reasons for this? You can probably imagine what those reasons are. The biggest one was that emphasis is on literacy and math in elementary school. And very often teachers and others feel that any time that they're giving to social studies is time that they're taking away from literacy and math. But this really is a false choice, and I'll explain why. Another recent study was conducted by the Fordham Institute in New York, and they wanted to see how might social studies and other core subjects improve elementary literacy. And what they found was that growing students' knowledge of the world through social studies has a greater impact on literacy than increasing English language arts instruction time. And I'll explain why. So what they did in this research was, it was a national study, and they asked schools to increase instruction by 20 minutes in each of the core subjects. And they wanted to see what impact that had on literacy scores. And what they found was that increasing social studies instruction by 20 minutes had a 15% improvement, was correlated with a 15% improvement in social studies scores. Whereas increasing study time by 20 or instructional time by 20 minutes for ELA only had a 3% increase in scores. In fact, as the quote there says, social studies is the only subject with a clear, positive, and statistically significant impact on student reading improvement. And there are a number of reasons for this. One might be that if you're already devoting most of the day to ELA, then adding another 20 minutes isn't going to have a huge impact on that, because it's kind of a drop in the bucket and you're continuing to do the same kind of instruction. Whereas increasing social studies by 20 minutes is a significant increase in situations where very little social studies is happening. But more importantly, it engages students with complex texts and builds their background knowledge. One person commenting on this effect said that, imagine this sentence: Bush files suit on piracy. Most third graders can probably decode that sentence, but they won't have any clue what it means. A bush is a plant. A file is a manila folder that our teacher has. Suit is something my dad wears to church. And piracy sounds like pirates. Maybe it has something to do with pirates. So a shrub has a folder full of dad's Sunday clothes, and it has something to do with pirates. So we need background knowledge, and background knowledge can come from social studies. Thanks. So what I'd love for you to do is call me up, email me, and let's share this information with your teams and talk about how literacy is improved by giving time to social studies in K through 5. I can brainstorm and explore resources and ideas with your teachers and help them build that capacity, because very often elementary school teachers don't feel as confident teaching social studies as they do ELA and math. Before we jump to coaching, let me say also, reach out to me, and you can join our social studies listserv. And these are divided up by grade level so that your teachers and you can get updates on each of the grade levels they want updates on. And be on the lookout for our inquiry design collaborative, where schools have been sending individual teachers and teams of teachers to our collaborative to work with others on improving inquiry in social studies. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, John. Going to turn it back over to Sarah at this point.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. We just want to also talk to you guys a little bit about some coaching. You can go down to the next one as well. So as you guys think about your framework for coaching for your instructional coaches and even for your coaches, we really want you to take a moment to really think about defining the role of your instructional coach. We will put in the chat a blog from Diane Sweeney on 3 ways that you can define an instructional coach, from building those relationships, making sure that you have defined what a coach is and what a coach isn't, and then also just thinking about how those walkthroughs go and making sure that the role of the coach is really being seen as a supportive arm and not as anything else. Next. We will also give you a template, and this template is a template that you can use while you are having these meetings with your COSAs or your instructional coaches. It just helps to provide some structure around the meeting to make sure that you are getting the best impact out of the meeting when you have that time with your coach. And then just to think about all of the different ways that Wayne RESA can support you, from identifying coaching programs and strengthening those areas for improvement to providing the professional learning that you may need in everything literacy, helping you to create those literacy leadership frameworks and systems within your building to have the most impact within your classrooms and for your students. And then to also think about how we are developing data collection, how we are using that data collection to improve academic outcomes in your building. Thank you.
I believe we have Cindy for state assessment and accountability updates.
Thank you, Michelle. Cindy Taraskevich, again, I'm Assessment and Accountability. So the state has released an updated version of the testing schedule for spring 2026. There are no changes for MSTEP, My Access. WIDA has the extended 10 weeks as they updated last year. So that is still indicated on the calendar. There are changes for PSAT and SAT. You can see that's now 4 weeks starting 4/6, just in case there are any 8th grade PSAT testers here or test administrators. That is now 4 weeks and will close 4/30. But the link down there will show you all the important dates. Those are being released for all the different assessments. And then the spring to 2027 and 2028 assessment calendars are also linked down below in the important dates link. So that is just released. Finding out some of those dates, just want to bring to your attention, the WIDA pre-ID opens on December 10th. And the spring 2026 assessment pre-ID opens on January 5th. Those pre-IDs will open in OEAA. Those are pulled in from your MSDS. So that is your student enrollment counts. So you want to make sure that is as clean as possible. You're dropping and adding students, making sure that's clean. And then it's pulled into OEAA. And then you're cleaning up that pre-ID in OEAA all the way through the testing period, all the way through the testing window. That will be tied to accountability. So make sure that pre-ID is clean. Also, your DRC will open up on February 20th. That is when the students from OEAA will be pulled into DRC. That is when you can start marking accommodations and printing your test tickets. And then I have linked directly the links to the WIDA, MSTEP, and My Access important dates. The benchmark assessment reimbursement, it is being renewed for the 25-26 school year. There are no significant changes from the previous school year. They remain optional, but they are strongly encouraged, except when funding is requested, they are required. There is a total of 11.5 million available for reimbursement. They don't have a per pupil amount yet until they see who applies and how many apply. Districts will submit an application in Nexus. So the requirements to receive this funding, again, these are not new. They have to administer the benchmark assessment within the first 9 weeks of school. And in the spring, they did define spring last year. That has to be within the last marking period through the June deadline. You have to use the same assessment in both fall and spring for ELA and math, grades K through 8. You have to report assessment data and the mode of instruction through the data hub within 30 days of the fall and spring administration windows. And they kind of give you a little leeway. The law does say 30 days, but they give you a little leeway there. So the deadline for the fall administration is December 19th. That there's no leeway with that deadline, but if it's not reported by December 19th, you will not get the reimbursement. And then the spring deadline is June 12th. You do have to share student scores with parents and guardians within 30 days of both administrations. And then the reporting and funding application is done through Nexus. They're not expecting that to be open until early 2026. So last year it was done in December. That's going to be pushed back a little bit into January. So there was a webinar that was held through MDE in the Data Hub that is linked down below with the recording and slide deck. And then I will share a link to a s'more. I will link it there once it's complete. We do have, Wayne RESA is hosting iReady and NWEA. We have webinars coming up November 5th and November 18th. So leveraging iReady data on November 5th, we have 4 sessions to choose from. We have sorted it for experienced users and new users. We have NWEA data in action on November 18th. Again, 2 sessions there for new users or experienced users. These with more information and details, what will be covered in those sessions, and then a registration link is available if you're interested in getting into some of your data and looking at the reports once you have that fall data. And then some accountability updates. The Michigan School Index System for 24-25, the results are coming soon. The accountability reports and the student data files, they will be released on My School Data Portal. We anticipate November. Sometimes it goes into early December. We don't have a confirmed date at this point. There will be a 1-week preview window and then of the public release. You must have a login with specific access to preview data and accountability data to view that data during the preview window. If you need help with the login, you can contact me. My email is there. There are directions on how to create an account, and then the authorized user form when you're setting up that account that is required. With this release, there will be 3 identifications: comprehensive support and improvement, targeted support and improvement, and then potential early release for any ATS schools. MDE have released the toolkit for 24-25, so there are some resources, some guiding documents, and some little webinars that you can view there as a link. And then my last slide here, this is my student voice survey. This is a statewide consortium for perception survey. It is around SEL, belonging, and engagement. So there are 3 domains. It is a 5 to 10 minute online survey. They have added educators, an educator component, and a parent and guardian component. And then again, they have a student component. So there are 3 components. They added those last year. It's fully translated into multiple languages. It's online. You get building and district level reports back once you complete the survey. There is Wayne RESA support after you administer the survey. We can help with data review, analysis, next steps. Sign up. There are 4 windows to administer the survey, so you can pick from any one of the windows. Sign up is at the very top right if interested. It is free to get some perception data, again, for grades 5 through 12. And then some quick stats. It's been growing each year, but you can see the student survey, 125 districts in the state completed it last year. 96 educator surveys went out last year, and 86 parent guardian surveys went out last year. So it continues to grow each year. If you're interested, the sign up is at the very top. If you have any questions, my email was in the very first slide. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Zainab Haydous, and I will be giving you some updates from the multilingual department. So I wanted to share with you this resource, which is protecting students' rights and privacy, especially, given the current concerns that we have seen statewide. So this resource really provides guidance for handling requests that are related to student or family information and ensuring compliance with federal and state privacy laws, including FERPA and civil rights protections. So the QR code links directly to the Wayne RESA webpage, where you can access templates and guidance to support consistent procedures across schools. So we really strongly encourage you to review this resource and share it with any relevant staff, so we are responding to families confidently and appropriately. So we have 2 key partners that have been really important in providing support and resources for multilingual learners and their families. The first one here is the Michigan Immigrant Rights Center, which has released a new resource outlining what Michigan schools need to know about immigrant rights. So they also offer a newsletter that you can subscribe to for ongoing updates. And then the second partner we have is the Michigan Department of Education, who has published a new resource to help schools support students who have been separated from parents or legal guardians due to deportation proceedings. I also wanted to share with you the MDE Administrator's Guide for English Learners, which was revised in August 2025. The purpose of this guide is to help school and district leaders make informed and equitable decisions for multilingual students. It really provides clarity on identification, placement, program implementation, educator evaluation, as well as family engagement, while at the same time supporting data-driven decision-making. So overall, this resource ensures that leadership teams have consistent guidance to support academic and linguistic success for all multilingual learners in your schools. So next, I would like to talk a little bit about Section 41 funding. As you know, districts must submit a staffing plan demonstrating how they will meet the service minutes by January 15, 2026. And the minimum number of minutes that are required in English language development instruction by a certified teacher for students that are at proficiency levels 1 to 1.9, they must receive 60 minutes per day of ELD, and they are required to have designated ELD. And then students at levels 2 to 4.7 must receive a minimum of 30 minutes per day, which can be delivered either through designated or integrated English language development. You can use the staffing calculator, which I have linked here to help figure out your staffing needs. So just remember that when the Section 41 report is submitted, it must include a 4-year plan, with this year potentially considered as year 1. And I've also linked a Padlet with program evaluation resources for additional guidance for you to look at. So for program evaluation, the Title III monitoring indicators that are being used for program evaluation this year are all around your language assistance program, specifically your English language development services, meaningful access to core content and curriculum, and professional learning that is necessary for staff in order to provide this meaningful access at Tier 1. So MDE is offering some webinars with technical assistance, and we will also be providing different county level support and technical assistance in case you have any questions about that as well. And then finally, I wanted to share with you a link to many of our professional learning opportunities that are coming up, including our Newcomer Educator Network, some LEADA trainings for the assessments that Cindy shared earlier, as well as SIOP training. And all of these are provided free for all Wayne RESA Wayne County districts using the code WCMLN 2026. You can view all of them on that link on that slide. So thank you all for joining us this morning.
Good morning. I'm Judy Bowling, the Instructional Tech and Library Media Consultant here at Wayne RESA, and I have a few items just to bring to your attention. The first one is our annual Maker STEM Summit, which is once again going to be hosted at Henry Ford in February, and this is a full day of hands-on learning. It's a very interactive day centered around maker-centered learning and STEM education. So we wanted to make you aware that registration is now open and to invite any of you or your educated staff members to submit a proposal if they would like to lead a conversation around this work. And we also wanted to make you aware, if you aren't, that we do have a MakerSTEM lending library here at RESA that contains a variety of resources that can be borrowed. Sometimes they're borrowed just to use in the classroom with the students. Other times they're borrowed because a potential purchase might be made and people want to try them out before investing in them. So again, there's no cost to borrow them, and wanted to make you aware that we do have them. And then the Student Technology Showcase this year is going to be on December 2nd. And so this is an invitation for K-12 student teams to come and showcase things that they're doing related to tech, that are utilizing technology to enhance their learning and teaching practices. And the deadline, though, is Saturday. But also wanted to make you aware that REMC and McCall are partnering together to offer up to $1,000 support that could help with things like busing, for example. And yep, next one. Thanks. So our Educational Technology Conference, the McCall community, the membership is free. If you or any of your staff members have been members in the past, they are now currently updating their membership database. So whether you're brand new or somebody who's been a member for years, they are asking that everybody complete the form to update their information. And by doing so, you will automatically be joining their new McCall community, which will send you updated information, but also is a platform to engage in conversation and discussions and sharing of resources. So we would invite you and any of your staff members to participate with that. And then the REMC Association has a lot of resources, and I wanted to just spotlight one of them. So if you're familiar with the REMC Association, they do a lot across the state related to educational technology. All of their resources are free. Anything sponsored by REMC is free. And so the one item that I chose to spotlight here that I thought might be helpful for you is the Presentation Skills Toolkit. And it offers a lot of resources and reflection materials that can be used to help in oral presentations, staff meetings, and whatnot. So if you have not looked at the REMC website in some time, I would invite you to do so, because there has been a lot of new resources that have been added to their website. And then with that, part of the REMC Association is also REMC Save. This is a service that's available to nonprofits across the state, of course, all Michigan schools across the state, where they provide large volume contracts for a variety of educational resources that have gone through a competitive bid process, which saves you time and money, because it allows you to bypass the getting 3 standard quotes. And then, of course, everything in there is at a discounted price. When people think of REMC Save, if you are familiar with it, oftentimes they think about it through the lens of office supplies and materials, which they do, but they also do other things like software. And so the one that I wanted to highlight right now is the Google Workspace for Education. Some people might not know that REMC provides discounted pricing for that, so we wanted to bring that to your attention. And the other reason for that is that Google this summer has changed how their pricing structure. So it used to be that for so many students, staff member licenses were no cost. They've changed their pricing model so that every single user of Google now requires the purchase of a license. And so next slide, please. So this is just a table that showcases the REMC pricing for people that are renewing versus people that are just coming on board. And then the link that is there gives some additional information for that. But again, just wanted to bring to your attention that REMC Save also provides some savings for Google Workspace licensing. And if you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out.
Again, thank you everybody for being here. We do have some time for questions. If you would like to unmute or put anything in the chat, or after we dismiss, we would also invite anybody to stay on if you want to connect with any of the consultant team here or you'd like further information. Are there any questions or thoughts? Again, you have access to all of these slides with all of the links. All the information is available to you. I think that I put that in the chat again. We'll archive things each month. And so if you can't come, you can always circle back and find the information, find the links, and we will send a recording for all of those who are registered.